And now, the starting lineup of your favorite show. At producer, 5'11" from Blanchester, the Cow Killer, Casey McCollister. And comic engineer, standing at 4'8", the pride of the West Side, Elliot Rearing. And your host, weighing 150 pounds, soaking wet, from Hamilton, Ohio, Ace Fowler.
Well, gentlemen. Here we are on a beautiful Tuesday morning in downtown Hamilton, Ohio. The band is back together again.
Wow.
Casey,
Wow. Tom?
you're like when I was just out in Arizona last week, I had a chance to go see the Rolling Stones.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
And you are like, well, Bill Wyman when he was, going and playing the bass. You know what I'm saying? You're not a big Stones guy.
No, I have
Okay.
no clue who that guy is.
That wouldn't have right on your
Never mind. Elliot, then you would be kind of like Ronnie Wood. Ronnie Wood was a great guitarist with Rod Stewart's band.
Okay.
And then when Brian Jones, a guitarist with the Rolling Stones, originally Rolling Stones, when he died, Ronnie Wood jumped on board.
Okay.
Right? So basically, Fritzner died and you jumped on board.
That's right.
Right?
That's about right. That's about accurate.
Yeah, and I mean, I say that tongue in cheek. And then there's Keith Richard, right?
Sure.
Right? There's Keith Richard. That would
like
be
that one.
Reed Mouse.
I'll take Keith
Still
Richard.
going strong. You've
I'll
been
take
here
Keith
since the
Richard.
very beginning.
That's right.
So
That's right.
you are an original Rolling Stone.
That's right.
Right? And then what they do is, and I read an incredible article about this band. I know this is supposed to be a sports show, allegedly. But they, what the Stones do is, and Jagger's a guy who runs the whole thing, right? And I mean, literally runs everything to who sells their T-shirts, the planning of itinerary of not only the dates on the tour, but the roadies, the whole 9 yards. And then he himself auditions all of the extra band members they want. So they go out and hire the best trombone player in the world. They hire the best saxophone player in the world. They hire the best keyboardist in the world. And those are the guys that go on tour with them. So, Luke, you would fit into one of those categories because we got to bring in the young blood to get the old guys kind of rolling.
He's saying you're not good enough for the real band.
No, he's
Yeah.
good enough, but he's got to earn it.
Minor leagues. Or am I working my way up?
You're in the band.
If
No,
you're
yeah,
in the
you're
Rolling
in the
Stones,
band.
there's nothing minor
Am
league.
I on like a 10-day contract
No,
though?
you're
or am
on
I-
the full tour.
Okay. I'll take it.
Okay.
So if I'm getting this right, Tom, that makes you.
No, that would make Trace.
You're Mr. Mick
Trace
Jagger.
is
Mick
Mick
Jagger.
Jagger.
You're Mick Jagger.
No, Trace is Mick Jagger.
You sure
Without
about
a
that?
doubt.
I think you are.
He's the man. He runs the show.
So
he
are
calls
you?
the shots. I'm like the saxophone guy, just coming on to give people a break.
Well, you got the moves like Mick Jagger.
There's no doubt about that. One of the great dancers of all time, as I've proven here in the studio.
You did the gritty.
You did the gritty in here.
That's exactly right. All right. Hi again, everybody. We welcome you, as always, to Off the Bench, presented by our good friends from United Dairy Farmers. Been a while since we've had the whole gang here together, but it's nice to be back. And I'm glad, I'm hoping, I'm sure he's not, because he has young children at home, but I'm hoping that after doing Reds Chatterbox Reds last night, that Trace maybe's getting a little sleep. I hope. I doubt it, but I hope.
Right.
All right, remember when the Reds, Elliot, remember when they won 12 games in a row last season?
No, I don't.
You sure about that?
I don't remember it. I'm trying to remember it. It's in there somewhere. It's just hard for me to picture it now.
Okay,
Let Tom
I
remind you.
tell you what, let's do this. Let's travel back
Okay, let's
in
do
time.
it.
Okay, get away from the current mess and finally recall that winning streak that really brought baseball back to Cincinnati again. Okay, got everybody on board, big crowds, blah, blah, blah. No matter what the situation was, you knew the Reds were going to win. They're facing a tough pitcher. They'll scratch out a 3-2 win. They're down 3 in the ninth. They'll walk it off. And Gapper will be dancing on the field.
What a terrible mascot.
Well, the same is true in baseball when the wheels are falling off. No matter what the situation is, you know as a fan, they're going to find a way to lose, right? Okay, so Alexis Diaz has, by and large, been great for this team over the last couple of years. In fact, he's been among the very best closers in the National League. But then September came around last year, and like the rest of the bullpen, he was running the ground. He was out of gas. He was lit up in spring training this year. And we wondered, was he going to be okay? He's pitched a total of 14 innings this season. He has allowed 27 base runners, 12 hits, 12 walks, 3 hit batters. All of those happened in the Arizona ninth inning last night. It started with hit batter. He got an out. Walk, 2-run game-winning hit by... anyone? Bueller?
The pride, former pride of Cincinnati, Kevin Newman.
That's exactly right.
Kevin Fart Newman. Good to see him last night. I'll tell you what, every former Red that comes against us, they played the best baseball they've ever played in their entire life. What a performance.
All you guys did was bang him.
Well, he was on the Phantom
Banged him
IL for
last year.
gastritis, Tom. Gastritis. For 2 months.
That happens to people.
I guess. Happens when you're hitting $180.
6-5 the final last night. It was a heartbreaker, okay? I mean, it was. After all, the Reds had battled against a really good left-hander in Jordan Montgomery. They come up with 2 runs against the Arizona bullpen to take the lead in the 8th and then lose it. They stand at 17-24, 7 games behind Milwaukee, and they are now tied for dead last in the NL Central with the Cardinals. And boys and girls, the Cardinals stink. They stink. Tonight it's Hunter Green against righty Slade Ciccone. First pitch 9:40 p. Eastern Time. The hits keep on coming, literally and figuratively. After missing the first month with an injury, it's back to the IL again for T.J. Friedel. He was hit on the hand, you may remember, by a pitch over the weekend in San Francisco. Apparently that hand has a fracture in it. He's now out 4 to 6 weeks. Not good. That means you get to watch Will Benson play more and Stuart Fairchild. Business side of baseball, MLB signed a deal with Roku. Do any of you guys have Roku?
No.
I have a Roku television. I don't like.
Yeah, I have one too.
I don't
You
have.
mean that they actually manufacture television sets?
Yeah, they have some deal where. So it used to be like an addition that you would plug into your TV. You'd put it in there and you'd have a little Roku. Then they decided, well, let's stop doing that. Let's just make
Build it in
Roku
the TV.
TVs with it all already installed. And yeah, all my TVs are Roku.
Yeah, mine are too.
Cool. All right, well, now you can watch MLB games on Sundays starting next year.
There you go.
When do I have to get out of here? By quarter after? We're good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I
Learn
got you.
this whole new radio thing,
Yeah, so-
ESPN Sports Radio in Dayton, Ohio.
That's right. That's right. You got 6 minutes here in this first
All right,
segment,
this
roughly.
won't be that long. Football news, the full schedule will be released tomorrow, but they give you some nuggets. NFL, I mean, these guys are so brilliant, it's insane. You might call them the big bad guys, and it's absolutely ridiculous the way people, every time the guy steps up at the draft, they boo Goodell. I mean, it's so tired. It is so, it's like there's a drive to left by Castellanos. It's so tired.
It's tradition.
Really. I mean, come on. Anyway, tradition. Give me a break. But they give you the nuggets, right? Yesterday we learned the NFL season opener has the Chiefs hosting the Ravens. Well, guess who's week 2? The Bengals at Kansas City. Kansas City, Casey, here we come. That'll be a 4:25 kick at Arrowhead.
Oh boy, Burrowhead, Tom.
Burrow.
Burrowhead.
You're allowed to say that when he won the last game he played
Listen.
against them. That was an L.
Tom. They have
L.
won the
AFC Championship game.
Well, he didn't lose the last one, but because Jake Browning.
Well, you got a
played-
point there. You're right.
correct,
You're right.
correct.
You're right.
But
Yeah, it's Browning
they've won
then.
3 Super Bowls in 5 years. The Chiefs
Yes.
have, and we get in their head rent free anytime we call their stadium Burrowhead. So I will continue to do it if we lose 100 straight games there. I'll call it Burrowhead.
It's a good point.
60 years from now.
Okay, that's fair. Will the Bengals be on primetime this season? We know they will, but it won't be at Kansas City. Who would you like to see them play in primetime? We're going to give you a chance to think about it today. All of us have an opinion. 1 home game, 1 road game. So we will discuss that topic a little bit later on. The Jets will start the season week 1 on a Monday night against San Francisco. But that game will be played in Brazil.
Oh. No,
I get that wrong?
That game's in San Francisco.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The Jets week 1 are at San Francisco, and Aaron Rodgers will be coming back. Not only coming back to the Jets to play quarterback, he's coming back to his hometown in the Bay Area. The game in Brazil is
Friday night, and that is Eagles
Packers.
Pack. Yes.
Okay.
Jordan
So
Love,
that's a
Jalen
Friday night,
Good game.
week 1 prime time game.
That's the Brazil game.
Yeah.
That's a Brazil game.
Aaron Rodgers, it's a revenge game in his first game.
That's exactly
It's
right.
him versus his Achilles.
That's exactly
Who will
right.
win that one?
Yeah, it was Monday night last year, too.
He's going to have a monster year this year.
Ah, well, we hope.
Mark it down. Tom Brady, meanwhile, makes his Fox debut week 1. The Dallas Cowboys go to
The Brownies.
the Brownies.
The stinky Brownies. Yes.
425. You know, it's only right that Brady, greatest quarterback of all time, that his first game in the booth would be in Cleveland. Because really, in a lot of ways, Cleveland is kind of the birthplace of football. It's not, but it really is. Right?
Yeah.
You got the Hall of Fame right down the road. That's where he should be.
Right. You get the greatest quarterback, greatest football player ever in Tom Brady. You get the most popular brand.
That's right.
In the Dallas
Without a doubt.
Cowboys, and then you also got, for some reason, the Cleveland Browns in that game. So yeah, I guess.
Place to be
Hopefully the
rocking.
lake doesn't catch on fire.
Good city by Cleveland. Good city there.
Boy. You know, you just find a way to beat up on. You're beating up on Cleveland. You always beat up on Hamilton.
I have
it
never
was a
beat up on
beautiful
Hamilton.
drive
12
in here
minutes
this
in, we
morning.
brought up Hamilton.
I've never beaten up Hamilton. I will say I'm missing a hubcap. I'm missing a hubcap. I don't know who. I don't know who.
I did see a help wanted sign,
Oh no.
and there was a guy.
Yeah.
In the picture with the number and the email had a guy pushing a lawnmower.
Oh
So
no.
they're looking for help.
Look at this. He's starting a business, Tom.
The lawnmower man.
Entrepreneur.
No Sunday night game has been announced yet, by the way, for the prime time. Okay? Nothing yet. You know, I want to talk for a second about Trey Hendrickson. We'll talk more about this in the show. A lot of people got a little chapped when he came out 3 weeks ago, right around the draft, said he wanted to be traded, that he deserves a new contract, and that he is underpaid. And he is right about all that. All of it. He is spot on. But it doesn't mean he's going to get the contract. But rather than complain and whine, this is such a great example, and I really mean this, and I'm not trying to sound like the old guy on the street. But this is exhibit A of how to handle yourself. You might be unhappy about the contract. You might be unhappy about the money, whatever it is. But rather than complain and whine, Hendrickson shows up voluntarily at practice yesterday, right? Only talks about wanting to win a Super Bowl in Cincinnati. Now that's a big leaguer. We'll get to him a little bit later on. One man's trash, another man's treasure, maybe a bit dramatic. But that's how the LA Rams must have felt to some degree about Jared Goff. I mean, they traded a younger guy away, right? Traded him away to Detroit for an older guy who had never won the big one in Stafford. Turns out a great deal for both sides. Stafford wins the Super Bowl. Goff has led the resurgence of the Detroit Lions franchise. He gets rewarded yesterday 4 years, $212 million. $170 million of that is guaranteed. And lastly, the NBA playoffs. Injury-riddled Cavs fall to Boston at home last night. They're down in that series 3-1. That's DUN. Out west, OKC rallies to beat Dallas. That series at 2-2. That's where they stand in the other two series. Pair of huge Game 5s tonight. Huge. Pacers at the Knicks. Will the Pacers get jobbed by the big city Knicks? And then you have the defending champion Nuggets hosting Minnesota. Game 5. We're going to a break.
Boom. You like
Take
that?
that shot of Elliott giving that sign, please.
You ready? You ready? You ready? Break.
Did you do that for your guy, Mo Egger?
Break. No, because the Mo has got the time locked in his brain there. He's ready to roll. That's a big leaguer.
Are you saying Tom isn't?
That's not what I'm saying.
That's
not what I'm saying.
That was the insinuation.
Ex-professionals.
I worked.
Ex-professionals.
Because he used to work in radio.
Yeah,
I don't know if you knew that.
Well, Tom doesn't probably even remember it, but I met Tom working
do
the radio.
remember.
I was in the studio when Tom came in for his return to WLW, and I believe it was with Chick.
Chick.
It was with Chick in his return, and I produced that show. So how about that?
That was fun.
I was right.
That was the AFC Championship game.
That's right.
That's exactly right. When the Bengals, that was the one they lost, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
No, I mean, it bummed me out because that was a big deal doing the radio.
Yeah.
And we were doing the pregame for that. It was so exciting and the build-up and everything. It was a bummer. Total bummer they got beat. All right. Bottom line is 1410 Wing AM ESPN Radio Dayton. Back in a moment. So explain to me what happens when we go to this commercial break.
Sure.
Because we're actually on the radio right now.
That's
in
right.
Dayton, right?
Well, we're not live, but what happens is we send the audio over to Dayton. We pre-record, we pre-tape it just so everything works because we can't change our time frame of 10A on YouTube. So we give them the audio and they hear it there. But what we do is we give the 5 seconds a break so we can edit it out and make sure all the breaks are good, nice and even.
And then we go live in Dayton at 1.
And then we go live in Dayton at 1.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is the game plan.
Luke, didn't you tell me you were on this yesterday? You were a little upset that Sam LaCure did not mention Chatterbox Sports yesterday.
No, he referred to it as a Dayton radio program, which it pretty much is.
Well, to be clear, it was on the Justin Kinner show, which is ESPN Dayton.
Right.
That's who it was.
but he
listen,
shouted out Elliott.
He did shout out me, and I felt very good about that.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. How'd you celebrate my birthday?
I cut grass till 10p, 9:30p. So yeah,
That's not very fun.
I cut the lawn last night too. Perfect night for it.
I'm sure it looks great.
Well, I don't know about that.
You've got a young kid at your house.
I know. Okay, no. He doesn't.
You don't cut the grass?
Hear me out. I come back this summer. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about that. Like, I got that this summer, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I'm obviously never been that age before, but it's kind of like you hold on to your youth in certain ways.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
So you
And
enjoy it.
I think that he really does get
enjoy-
some self-esteem,
Yeah.
dad points for that.
You
so.
enjoy your yard time. You
It's the
enjoy your
only
yard
real
time.
job I've had in 4 years.
See, Elliot belittled you earlier. Now you're belittling Chatterbox, Tom.
Yeah,
No, I'm
this
not.
was
Yeah.
not a real
No, I
job,
am
Tom.
not. No, I am not. All right, let's get here, boys, to the Reds. I want to get to the Reds.
Please.
Luke, you got up this morning, and you said to me, and it's so rare for you to get up at this time of the morning.
Thanks.
You said to me, you can't believe this game, right?
It was an all-time. All-time. It was a very entertaining baseball game. I mean, 3-2 early on, couple home runs, and tweeted at Elliott when it was a 3-2 game. Said, "Hey, I think they might have a comeback in them," and they did. It was electric. They waited all the way to the 8th inning. I mean, the Rally Reds. It looked like they were back, led by the dynamic duo of the Candy Man and Mike Ford. But I thought that they were going to pull it off, and sure enough, this closer, Alexis Diaz, that. We started the show hyping up. He still has a 5.6 ERA going into that, 9th inning there, and then couldn't throw a strike. So it was very frustrating to stay up that late, watch it. I watched Chatterbox Reds after, and it was just a night where you thought there was a torch in the tunnel, is what I tweeted, and I thought there was a little bit of light. And
Torch in the tunnel. I like that. I
And-
might steal that.
That's good.
a
Yeah.
big gust of wind, made that torch disappear because Kevin Newman, off the end of the bat, all 13 Diamondbacks fans there went home happy.
Yeah, but when you figure though that he puts him on base with a hit batter and 2 walks. ERA at this point in the year, you're not at a point
Correct.
where it's a big deal because it's just a few number of innings. The bottom line is base runners. 27 base runners in 14 innings. Elliot, we were talking about this guy in spring training. I didn't get on his tail last year in September because that bullpen had been completely run into the ground.
Yep.
Because the starters were so bad.
Yep.
That is not the case this year. They've played 41 games, and he has pitched 14 innings.
Yeah, I have some stats, and I'm going to read them out here for you. So his first 104 appearances through July 21st of 2023 as a Red, his first 104 appearances. He had a 1.84 ERA, That's 22 earned runs in 107 innings. In 42 appearances since July 21st of 2023, he has a 5.87 ERA. He's given up 25 earned runs in 38 innings. If you think that's not bad enough, you take a look since August 1st of 2023, Alexis Diaz has more walks and hit batters than he has strikeouts or innings pitched. This is a guy who just doesn't have it right now. And pitching and relief duty, it's very similar to being an umpire, being a referee. It's a thankless job. Because if you give up one bad game, one bad run in a clutch moment, everybody's going to remember that. Right. They're not going to remember Emilio Pagan last night pitched 1 inning of scoreless baseball in the 6th. Nobody's going to remember that. But they will remember Alexis Diaz last night in the 9th. And here's my thing. I'm not going to get mad about David Bell not pulling him. I trust David Bell more than I don't trust him. But it was evident last night he did not have it. When I say he beamed a batter, Lourdes Gurriel, he hit 95 dead center of the rib cage. It was the most, and by the way, Stevenson was framed on the outside of the plate. He couldn't have missed worse than he missed. Then you have Eugenio Suarez. There was a lot of bad pitches. He forces a full count, and Suarez hits a frozen rope, a missile to left field. The hardest hit baseball I've seen ever, maybe. Missile. Now, unfortunately for him, right at Spencer Steer for an out. And then ever since then, it was a disaster. It was a train wreck. Two walks, and as soon as Kevin Newman came up there with 3 hits already, I knew he was poking one into right field. I knew it. And I'm not gonna get too upset. I went on a big tirade last night, and I'm done getting upset about it.
All right. The last thing I want to ask you about, though, before we go around the room here,
sure,
again, is last night was your birthday.
It was.
Yesterday was your birthday.
Yes.
Was it a celebratory kind of night for you, or sort of low key, or what?
Yeah, we did celebrate.
You did.
We went to. You were
talking about going to the brass ass.
I did not
Isn't
go.
That
I
what
did
you
not.
Said, Reed?
I'm wondering if we could say that on radio.
You can.
Okay,
It's an establishment, so you can say the name.
That's exactly. They've been in business for 40, 50 years.
Yeah, good quality hometown business.
I didn't say that.
And so no, I did not go to Tracy Jones' place of work. I guess he works there. Is that what the deal was?
Yeah.
He was the bouncer. No, but I didn't go there last night. Instead, I drove straight to Jay Alexander's in Rookwood, and I had a nice little dinner with my parents. That's right.
Nice.
That's right. That's what I did. And then when I came home, and I'm like, you know what? We're going to watch the Redlegs win. So I put some money on the money line. They were underdogs last night. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to win this. The Reds are going to win this for me on my birthday. And by God, as soon as the clock struck midnight and it wasn't my birthday anymore, they lost it.
Yeah.
They blew it.
If Graham Ashcraft had not thrown 149 pitches in 4 innings, I tell you what though, in serious joking about that, because all of us were on this chat about this last night. This is the difference though between a guy like Ashcraft, and believe me when I tell you, when it comes to talent, I'm not comparing the two. Okay, but I tell you what, Graham Ashcraft battled his tail off last night. You watch a lot of baseball. You played a lot of baseball. I mean, Reed, a lot of times when you see a starter goes 4 innings and throws 90 pitches, that normal that runs column looks 4, 5, 6. Right? He held him to 3. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a disaster.
Listen, when there's 2 types of, there's a Venn diagram of successful pitchers. There's ones with the talent, guys like Hunter Green, guys like Spencer Strider for the Braves over on this side of the Venn diagram. Then there's guys that I like to call bulldogs, right? They just compete every single guy. A guy that you like, Kurt Schilling, you would definitely throw in that category. Graham Ashcraft is certainly in that category to where every single time he goes out there, he's going to compete. He's gonna battle every single pitch, every single batter, and you know that he might not have his best stuff. He might get beat around a little bit, but you know he's gonna go out there and he's gonna compete for the Reds every single night.
Yeah, I mean, he does. Like you said, there are pitchers. I remember Greg Maddox and Steve Stone and I had a conversation one time, many years ago. Maddox had only been in the big leagues for about 2 years. It was right on the precipice of him going from an 18-game loser in a season to being the best pitcher in the game over the next 6, 7 years and winning 2 or 3, 4 Cy Youngs, whatever it was. But, we talk about pitch count in the minor leagues. And one of the lines Maddox used to say all the time was, you only find out what kind of pitcher you really are on what you do after the 100th pitch in a game. Are you still competing? Are you still getting people out? Analytics has taken that away almost entirely because of this third time through the order nonsense. Okay, now those numbers, they are what they are, and you
they're
can't
very
dispute
evident.
them.
They're very evident,
I get
correct.
it. But there are just certain guys that I'm going to trust, to borrow your term, Elliot. I'm going to trust certain guys to go through that lineup for a third time. There are too many examples of guys that do it. You don't have to be a Hall of Famer to do it. It just might be your night on a given night to do it. Other thing you used to talk about all the time was, back in those days, if you got 34, 35 starts, say it's now 31 today, said basically 5 of them you're going to have great stuff. 5 of them you're going to be awful. And the rest of them in between is where you got to figure out a way to get through it. That's what you have to do. Yep. And that's what really separates guys who are good pitchers from guys who are in the big leagues for a few years and sub 500, they're out. That's what those games are. And for Ashcraft last night, he didn't have it. You could tell right from the beginning. He didn't have the same stuff he normally has. But he found a way to not turn it into your team being behind 6-1 or 6-2 in the third inning. And I think there's something to be said for that, and I give Ashcraft a lot of credit. Did you watch the game last night, Casey?
I did not watch the game.
You did not?
No, I box scored watched.
That's cool.
But that,
okay.
I mean, it's been really tough for me to just sit down and watch Reds. I was really like,
It's been tough for a lot of Reds.
I was being very consistent in
me,
watching
brother.
them every game at the beginning of the season. I watched the first 20 games all the way through, and then it just started to weigh on me a little bit. Instead, I decided to watch Game of Thrones and then watch my Dallas Stars versus Avalanche.
Your Dallas Stars.
That game, I should say.
This is where Reds
the,
fans are.
The Colorado Avalanche, my Avs, they got absolutely demolished.
We're watching
So,
reruns of Game of Thrones and a hockey game, Dallas Stars. That's what we're watching over the Cincinnati Reds.
I mean,
right
it's tough, man. I mean, like we talked about it the other day, how many one-run games that they're losing, and this is just another one.
Yeah.
And it's a different way that they're losing. It's not like they were trying to come back and didn't get there. They had already come back and then they give it up. It's just the thing that's consistent about this team is that they're very inconsistent. None of their players are consistent. I wouldn't even consider Ellie or Steer consistent. None of them are consistent. And that's the problem with this team.
There were a couple situations in the game last night, and I know we got to take a break in, another 2 minutes or something. There are other situations in the game last night that make you scratch your head. Now, I know there's 2 outs, nobody on, but explain this one to me, okay? Now, again, I'm going to harken back to the old days and bring out guys. And look, I'm an older guy, so I mean, a lot of the conversations I had when I was broadcasting are with guys that I haven't played for a while. But one of the great players in the history of baseball was Robin Yount. He won 2 MVP awards. He's in the Hall of Fame, has over 3,000 hits, started his career as a shortstop, went to center field, and won an MVP at both positions. This guy was an unbelievable player for the Milwaukee Brewers his entire career. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He was a coach for the Diamondbacks when I was there. And we got to talking about a situation that occurred the night before about swinging at 3-0 pitches, right? Mm-hmm. And Robin said, man, I couldn't do it. It was a mental block. I was not going to swing 3-0. He said, but if you stop and think about it, I can't figure out why I had that block. He said, because 3-0, they're throwing you fastball right down the can. They're going to do the same thing 3-1. And that's when you see a lot of guys now go to hacking, 3-1. Okay, 2 3-0 counts last night. Stuart Fairchild. This is a guy who can get on base for you, maybe steal a base, right? Score on a base hit. He's hacking 3-0. Now, the sort of standard in baseball is, if you're going to hack 3-0, you better pull the snot out of something and knock the cover off of it. If you're not going to put it in play, you better kill it to the pull side. That means you're on it and you're ready to hit.
Tom, when you think of the guys that get the 3-0 green light, Barry Bonds, Albert Pujols, Miguel Cabrera, and
Kill
of course, Stuart Fairchild is the fourth name that comes up to mind.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back to this, though, because there's a back part of this. Now, am I able, like the old days, even though we're taking these radio breaks for ESPN Radio Dayton, am I able to go to the restroom? You did something headlines yesterday, but I kind of did some of that.
Yeah, theoretically, yeah. If you have to go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom.
All right, well, you guys, we're going to go to a break, and you guys take it, and I'll be back.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Well, hey, and Tom, don't even worry about it. Tom, don't even worry about it. Just walk right through, baby. Listen, we can do ads a little early too, if you really wanted to, because look at this beautiful bottle of Pawnee water.
Who's it from?
Who's it from?
Yeah.
The bottle of Pawnee water?
The bottle of Pawnee water?
Yeah, where is it from?
Hamilton, Ohio. I didn't know what were you doing?
What was that question?
Yeah, what was that question? Also, where's the new shipment of Pawnee water that you promised me? You said you talked to the guys in the parking lot.
I did. I don't know. They said they would bring it over, and then never came. So I don't know.
Well, that's a problem. Yeah, listen, I've been trying to be patient with the Cincinnati Redlegs. I've been trying to be more positive.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, you could see it, right?
Yeah, you're sparkling of positivity.
You could see it. Yeah, that's it. Last night it broke me. And it might be because I had money on the game. It might be. That might have been the final straw, where it's like I can't watch him anymore. I can't do it. I'm gonna watch them. I have to watch them for my job, but I'm gonna watch them with hate in my heart. That is what I'm gonna do, with resentment. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Reed. Reed was talking to me yesterday, and this is 100% correct. If these prospects don't turn out,
don't steal it.
I won't steal it. I'm gonna start getting back on the Fire Castellini train. Get rid of him. Sell the team, Bob. I'll start protesting outside the stadium again if I have to. I'll do it. I don't want to do it, but I have to do it because something needs to spark in this team. And by God, if me protesting down there and having almost nobody see it, if that doesn't do it, I don't know what will.
Don't steal that take, because I got to ask Kirby that. I need to ask Kirby
right,
that take, because I
take.
want his opinion. I will say this. I see Trace on the show wears these Eclipse glasses.
Do you think he stole that bit from you?
No, I think that maybe you should wear them the entire game, because you can't see anything, and that's probably the best way to view the Reds. Yeah,
that probably is. Luke, you watched the whole game, right?
I did.
Did you bet on it? Did you end up? You can't. Never mind. I'm not going to ask you that. Hypothetically, would you have bet on the game?
I was rooting for your bet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know.
I just wanted to, I don't know, experience you getting a birthday present from FanDuel.
Thank
or
you.
DraftKings,
That's what I would have wanted to.
Speaking of that, the same game parlay lost again.
It did?
Sam
Oh,
LeCure's.
no, it was actually right there, though, after the Candelario RBI.
Yeah, it needed a home run, right?
I mean, they just throw in, the
Stevenson
dumbest
home run.
legs ever. We
Yeah.
should get Tyler Stevenson, to put a ball in play minus 2,000 at least at a parlay.
I think he did that because of our conversation. They found the dumbest legs possible. Let's just throw a home run bet on there.
I mean, they're throwing a plus 400 bet in a parlay.
Yeah, it's nonsense. And they always do $10 to win 10,000. It's like, what are we doing, Bally? Let's find something
What's
else.
wild about that is it's sponsored by FanDuel, right?
Yeah.
Bally Sports has a sports book. They have a Bally sports book.
Really?
Bally's a gambling company.
That's right. Are they the Miami Valley Gaming, or is that a different one
I don't
completely?
know about that, but Bally is a gambling company, and they bought these regional networks, make more money, and kind of get into the sports book industry. But then they have a sponsor that's another sports book. I don't get that business decision, but hey, it's not my business.
I don't get it either.
Bally
but
Sports is
if they're
firing on all
gonna
cylinders.
keep firing those away, I'm gonna continue to make fun of them. That's a fact.
I almost joined in your birthday bet. I almost came out of retirement for it.
You're still in retirement.
Yeah, I'm still in retirement.
Damn.
I
right.
feel pretty good about not betting it now, though.
So now what we're gonna do, Tom? We're gonna do 5 seconds of silence, and we're gonna bring us back from radio.
Segment
To
3
radio.
on its way.
All right. Welcome back to the show. Off the bench. We're here every day, 10 to 12. And
1 to
Trace
3.
with a day off today.
That's right.
Or the day off. He'll be on Chatterbox Reds tonight.
Tonight.
Wouldn't it?
That's correct.
Nick's pretty upbeat dude, man.
Nick Kirby? Yeah.
Always upbeat.
It rubs some people the wrong way. It really does, because sometimes you just want to watch the Reds and you're going to be like, they stink. Well, someone just tell me they stink, and he refuses to do it. I refuse to do that with the Bengals. But I like positivity. What good is there to be negative about the team, even though there's a lot of negativity around them? It's just positivity is good. And he brought something up 2 days ago that I thought was interesting, Tom. This team's 6-7 games under 500. They're last in the NL Central.
Yeah.
They're 1-9 now?
Yeah.
1-9 in one-run games.
Right.
Now, this is the biggest. When you look at the wild card teams every single year, there's normally one team that just did outstanding in one-run games, and that's something that you can't predict from year in and year out. They normally find its level. The Reds were good in one-run games last year. The Marlins, who were amazing in one-run games last year, they're now terrible. It seems unlikely that the Reds are going to continue the trend of 1-9 in one-run games. And if you even that out, they're 5-5. They go 500 in these 10 one-run games. They're close to 500.
Yep.
If they're not there, I think they're maybe a game over 500.
That's right.
So that's something that's just not going to continue to happen. We can say the Reds
You'd
stink.
think that.
Right. We can say all these things. You can be as negative as you want about the Cincinnati Reds right now. I can tell you right now, from an outsider's perspective, that will not continue. There will be games in June and July that you'll look up and how the heck did we win that game, and you win by one run, similar to what the Diamondbacks did to the Reds last
That's
night.
right. That's right. I've said this too. Look, I'm not totally Mr. Positive when it comes to the Redlegs,
Sure.
but I'm not throwing in the towel on the year yet.
You can't.
Are you?
It's game 40.
I know Elliot is, but are you?
I came in here yesterday for the first time, and that's just what we were talking about. It's game 40. You can never throw in the towel in game 40. I mean, I don't think that this team, after last year, there was obviously too much hype about this team potentially being a playoff team. I think last year was maybe proof of life that baseball exists in Cincinnati again, and that the team was maybe ahead of schedule for the massive rebuild that started, it feels like, forever ago. But, it's a young team. There's setbacks. But the issue is how good the pitching has been, to where if you're not converting now, it's like, the bats will heat up. You're not going to hit 215 as a team the entire year. Someone's going to get hot. You're going to get guys back. But if the starting pitching has been as good as it's been, you probably want to be, right around 500 at this point. And, you're not, but they went on a 12-game win streak last year. That's all it takes.
Do you know that, Elliot?
I try to remember it. I try to know it, Tom. It's hard for me to picture it. Let me ask you this, Luke. You just said that the tide's going to essentially the tide's going to turn.
Well, they will go on a run at some point.
Things are going to change. Using Reed's logic, it's the same way, and you just kind of alluded to it there. The pitching staff, starting pitching, has been great. Mm-hmm. That's going to turn eventually. I don't think they're going to be great the whole year. I could be wrong on that. I think there's a serious chance that we lose one of them to injury, and we haven't had that happen yet either. I think if we're not going to capitalize, as you just brought up, right now while the pitching staff's great, I have a hard time believing the pitching staff's going to be there when the bats somehow find their way. And that's my other question. What makes you think the bats are going to find their way back? Because we're talking about Stuart Fairchild. That's what we were talking about last segment.
3-0
swinging on 3-0.
Yep.
That's the guy you want.
That's not last year's team. That's not the team that won 12 in a row. We have Santiago Espinal, Stuart Fairchild, and Will Benson playing every day. We have Mike Ford hitting cleanup. Cleanup. Now, I know he had an RBI triple, and by God, it was majestic watching that guy run around the bases.
And the line on that is plus 3,500 tonight. Just FYI.
Please bet it again. Put it in the Bally Sports Parlay. But I have a hard time believing, looking at this team right now, that the tide's just going to turn. The Reds were very good in one-run games last year. Very good. You could argue that, using your logic, you could have said the same thing last year. Eventually, they're not going to win all these one-run games. They're not going to be 10 games above 500 in one-run games.
Which happened in September.
It did. It started coming down, and now you're seeing it this year. I don't know. And again, this is somebody who looks at everything through a pessimistic lens. I get that. But I don't see a way out of the tunnel right now. I don't think the team's good enough. That's the bottom line. The team isn't good enough. We can go back and forth. Waiting for Matt McClain, TJ Friedel. TJ Friedel comes up, he gets hurt again. 4 weeks at least. God knows when we'll see him. Matt McClain. Let me ask you this. Does Noelvi Marte and Matt McClain fix this?
No, and that's where I think this, to my point earlier, this season and the negativity surrounding it right now when it's the lowest, like 3-14 in their last 17 games, it doesn't get much worse than this. But last year, all this hype, I mean, Marte played a month of Major League Baseball, and we wanted him to be, prime Fernando Tatis for us. I mean, that's the way everyone looked at him. And it's like, yeah, we go out and made a splash in the offseason getting Candelario. Like, it was an acquisition to Cincinnati, and it was a hole that the team thought, getting a versatile infielder would fill. But, I mean, these aren't marquee high market players. So you have a year like last year where you get hyped up. This team on paper, you could have taken someone out of Cincinnati without maybe an optimistic lens on come the offseason, and you put this roster in front of them and they probably would laugh at it. And that's what they're playing like right now. And young teams do go hot and cold, and I think this team will win, 7 of 10 at some point. And they're going to have baseball that has us coming in the morning and the opposite of today's show. But like you said, I think people got overexcited about a roster that might just not be very good. And I think that they will be streaky, and I will hold my ground saying that they will play better baseball at some point. But how much, raw talent right now without McClain and Marte, who at least has such a high ceiling, is there in that lineup?
And the failure of Encarnacion Strand.
Sure.
Because I'm not going to throw in the towel on that dude either, because I'm the guy who said of all the young players, I thought ultimately he was going to be the most productive. Not the best player, but the most productive hitter. And I'm not throwing in the towel on the dude. But there are a lot of people around here that are like, this guy's a total bust.
Right. It's very early in his career, and I think he's one of the worst, if not the worst hitter in the National League this year. Certainly one of them. The thing about CES is at some point in his career, he'll have that big season where he hits 30-something home runs, and everyone will like, see, we saw this. It might be in 6 years from now. These bigger, heavier first basemen tend to do that. Guy like Rowdy Tellez, guy like Dan Vogelbach that just pop out of nowhere. CES is a better prospect than them. So CES, don't throw in the towel on him yet, but he has good at-bats. Listen, as for what Luke said about if you pull people from outside of Cincinnati and you say, hey, look at this roster. Does this look like a winning roster? That's the nature of young teams. If you looked at the Orioles roster a year ago, they won 100 games in the American League East last year. If I showed you the Baltimore Orioles roster last year and I said, how good do you think this team is? You'd say, 75, 85 wins, somewhere in that margin. Well, they cleared it by a mile. They look like the best team in baseball right now. And that's what the Reds are trying to be. That's the nature of being a small market team. You've got to do it with young players. That's the mode. And that's what you're hoping. You're hoping that these guys, Ellie De La Cruz looks as good as advertised right now. He's going to go in a slump at some point. That's inevitable. Sophomore slumps happen. Young guys like that, he will go down at some point. Hopefully the other guys can lift him up. Hopefully you get a guy like Jonathan India, who is a veteran now. Maybe he's more of what we saw this year and last year than what we saw in his first 2 years in the league. But hopefully a guy like that steps up. Hopefully Spencer Steer continues to be a solid bat. Jamer Candelario, everyone was writing him off 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
He's swinging the hottest bat in the lineup. And he's going to continue to do that because you know what? He's a veteran. And you know what you get with him for his 8 years. Like, this team cannot. I don't know how good they are. I don't know. Everyone was, can this team win 90 games? I thought that was silly to begin with. But this team is not as bad as they're playing right now.
No.
They're not as bad as they're playing right now.
But here's the thing. Let's say they pick that up. Let's say offensively some of these guys come back. Let's say Will Benson shows up at some point during this season. Let's say Spencer Steer does. Let's say Candelario plays to the back of his baseball card. At the end of the day, you're still competitive. You're still in the games like they've been in the past 3 weeks. I would say it hasn't been too competitive, but they've been relatively close games because of what the starting pitching has done. They're still making the mistakes on the base path. They still can't play defense. That can't get fixed.
Defense will not be fixed. Base running.
No.
Base running's going to get fixed?
Here's the thing about the base running. You're making mistakes right now. This team
lot.
last year was one of the most, if not the most aggressive team in baseball on the base paths. Same with this year. This team is hyper aggressive on the base pass. Ellie De La Cruz, for every Tootland, for every time that he gets thrown out on the base pass looking like an nincompoop, whatever that phrase is that they used, every time that he does that, he makes 8 to 10 plays that no one else in baseball can do. And you are going to have the give and the take with that. When you have hyper-aggressive baseball team, when you have a team that's constantly trying to get an extra bag, especially a team that's slumping like they are, you need to take the extra bag. You need to get an extra 90 feet. You are going to sometimes have terrible base running decisions. That's the nature of the game. The defense was a concern before the year. The defense ain't getting better. Maybe Matt McClain comes back in Noelve Marte at the midseason break and it gets a little better. Guess what? Spencer Steer's still going to be out in left field. Guess what? This team in the outfield is still not going to be very good. So I don't know what you can do about the defense. Tom earlier brought up this thing about starting pitchers. You get 30 starts, right? 10 games, you're going to have lights out stuff. 10 games, you're going to have nothing. What can you do in those 10 games in the middle? Same thing works for baseball teams. You're going to win 60 games. You're going to lose 60 games. What can you do in those extra 60 games? While right now it seems like the Reds cannot win a game, they cannot do anything to win a game, there will be a time in July, in August, maybe next month, where it looks like it doesn't matter who they throw out there, they're going to win. They can throw out Dreamweaver, he can give up 10 runs. Guess what? We'll score 12.
Oh, man.
Ricky Karcher will not throw a strike. Guess what? They'll swing at everything anyways, and you'll get out of the game and beat the Royals. That will happen. Can you find a way to manufacture a few wins when you're not playing well right now?
True. And, we got back to that thing I started to talk about Fairchild swinging 3-0. But then, Luke, there was the one you brought up.
Yeah, and I think that follows up a point I was going to make. If we're going to be optimistic in here, like I've been the last 2 days about the Reds saying, they're not as bad as they're playing.
You're not that
right
optimistic.
No, definitely not.
You're not Nick Kirby optimistic.
No, not like that.
Right.
But I wasn't coming into the year like maybe he was.
Okay.
I will say, if you're a slumping team and you want to play aggressive and you're young and you're fast, and that is going to be your identity. At this point, the Reds want to be an aggressive team who makes you pay when you make mistakes. They want to be the attacking force in the game. You can't run 3-0, runner at first, 1 out, Ellie up. You can't swing at a 3-0 pitch with nobody on it when you're not a power hitter. You got to get on
hitter. He doesn't hit in general. He hits 170.
That's what I'm saying. So as a fan, that's stuff where it's impossible to be optimistic about it when you're like, hey, I can live with the ups and downs of Ellie De La Cruz because that's who he is. He's a volatile player. But if you're going to have a volatile play style, you can't hurt yourself and swing 3-0, run 3-0 when you could just, potentially walk and get the runner to first. I mean, that's just not game management.
Yeah, that was a situation last night, the other 3-0, okay? So he said Fairchild is swinging 3-0.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, there were 2 outs, nobody on. Situations dictate different responses. The other one was, though, India walked in a 3-3 game. I think it was the 7th?
Yep. It was top of the 7th.
7th? Okay. 3-3 game, 1 out, India walks. Okay, so the pitcher has just walked a batter.
Correct.
Right? The count goes to 3-0 on De La Cruz. Now, whether De La Cruz likes swinging 3-0 or not, whether he has the green light all the time, I would doubt he always has a green light 3-0, being such a young player. Maybe they give him the red light. Just take a pitch. Okay, I don't know. And David Bell's not going to answer that question. But nonetheless, India running 3-0, and India is not a good base stealer. He's not. He's not fast. In fact, he looks slower to me than he has in his whole career. He's gotten bigger. He just looks slow.
Yeah.
He takes off 3-0. Pitch. Called a strike. De La Cruz, if it was 3-0, if he had the green light, he would have swung at the pitch. It was right down the middle. 3-0, catcher, boom, boom, fastball. They're not throwing him 3-0 breaking ball. Out at second base. So what's that forced to happen next? De La Cruz gets the hit, and to try to get into scoring position, he tries to take second base, and he gets thrown out. Those are back-to-back plays.
Yeah. Can't happen.
One stupid, the other one forced on De La Cruz. because at least in that one, I think he understood the situation, unlike the one the other day when he tried to steal third and you're down by 2.
That's right.
All right. We got a lot still to get to here today. We got to get to the Bengals. And we're asking the question of all their games this year. We know the opponents. We'll find out who, when, and where tomorrow night. But who would you like to see them if they're going to be on prime time twice? And we know it's not going to be against Kansas City. One road game, one home game. What opponent would you like to see in that spot? And we'll talk a little bit more about Trey Hendrickson. Thought it was a pretty big league move yesterday, what he did showing up voluntarily to work out for the Bengals. All right, ESPN Radio in Dayton, Ohio. The Wing, take it away. All right, is there anything else that anybody wants to get into with the Reds? Do you want to talk about, these next – we talked about this whole stretch here, right, of games.
Sure.
All right, and the juggernaut is still sitting out there and you haven't played them once. And that's the Dodgers.
Yeah.
They're on the docket 7 times coming up in the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
And a lot of people think that schedule lightens up after that. I went back and looked at that 2 days ago. I'm not so sure it really does lighten up, right? A lot of people, the Reds fans, for some reason, they look down their nose at the Pirates like the Pirates have been awful for 150 years. Well, the Reds haven't won a playoff series since '95. Where in anybody's right mind does a fan base of the Reds, where are they allowed to look down? Nobody's allowed to look down their nose at anybody, not even a lawnmower man.
No.
But you can't look down your nose at people, and if you're a Reds fan, you can't look down your nose at the Pirates.
There is one stretch in this season that's I would call easy. It's right before the All-Star break. It goes Rockies 4 games at home, Marlins 3 games at home, then the All-Star break, then you come back with Nationals on the road 3 games. That's the easiest stretch of the season. That's in July? You got to survive until July. It doesn't get much easier. I mean, we can sit and say the Cardinals are bad, but are we trusting the Reds are going to 2-game, 3-game?
They have the same record.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. I don't think so. I don't think the Reds are significantly better than the St. Louis Cardinals. Not right now. No. So correct, Tom. I don't think the schedule gets easier. I don't.
We're getting a little more. We're learning a little more about these National League teams. Like you guys just played. The Reds just played the Giants. I don't think the Giants are very good. That was a team that I thought could compete for a playoff spot, but they're not very. And to be honest, the one team that you're playing right now is the Arizona Diamondbacks. Everyone loved the Arizona Diamondbacks going into the year. Why? They won 84 games last year. They had a heck of an October.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, they had a heck of an October, but why was everyone acting like this team was going to win 95 games?
They
look like at best a wild card team again. And then you look over in the East, Nationals. No one believes in the Nationals. The Mets are kind of sneaky
They're hanging in there.
They got a decent roster, but we're starting to see more that it doesn't look as overhauling. Playing the schedule, because I think I looked at the Reds, I looked at the Cubs schedule. You could go 12 straight series of playing teams that think that they're playoff contenders. That's becoming a little more apparent that some of these teams aren't very good. But Tom, I loved what you said about the Pittsburgh Pirates in the sense that I've been trying to get that through Elliot. He always goes, the Pirates are terrible. They've always been terrible. And I go, Elliot, what have the Reds done that the Pirates haven't? And he goes, well, I mean, it's like, okay, well, the Reds haven't won a playoff series since 1995. The Reds have come in last place in the NL Central for about 6 of the last 10 years. The Pirates did win a playoff series. I'm trying to remember who they played.
Yeah, that's when they had A.J. Burnett and that whole cast of characters.
Tom, do you remember who they played when they won a playoff series?
I want to say they beat – no.
I think it was the Cincinnati Reds. So sorry, I couldn't.
That was a game.
I know.
You guys are funny.
But
you guys are real good. It's like watching a comedy show here.
Here's
real funny stuff.
Wasn't that the
Cueto? Let's do that Cueto chant will haunt me forever. Let's do a Reds buy or sell. This will be the last Reds segment. We'll talk Bengals the other 2 segments.
Okay. All right.
So we'll do a Reds buy or sell. Wait
a minute, real quick. Can I say this real quick?
Sure.
One of our great, and I really sincerely mean this, one of our great and loyal followers is Molly.
Yeah.
And Molly let us know today she got her government security clearance.
That's right.
She is starting her new job tomorrow in aerospace manufacturing. Today will be her last off the bench for quite a while. Love you all, and let's go Reds. Molly, we love you here on All.
Congrats, Molly.
Congrats, Molly.
Casey, wear the hat. Molly sent us a lot of gifts. One of the best gifts we ever got was we all got personalized Christmas hats. Tom, you got Ohio State. I got the Bengals, or I got the Reds. Reed got the Bengals, Cubs. And then Casey got Santa's pants.
Santa's pants. Thanks, Molly. Congrats, Molly.
So, does that make your head the chimney? And it feels empty like a chimney sometimes.
Yeah, it does.
That's a big league job she's got.
That is a big league job.
Good for her. Molly, good luck. And sincerely, thank you. We hope you're able to stop in from time to time. And thank you for always being here with us. All right, Elliot.
Reds buy or sell, Tom. And this is for everybody in the room.
All right, let's go around the room. We're going to start it. We're going to go Luke, Reed, Casey, me.
That's right.
All right, let's go.
Buy or sell, Tom. Alexis Diaz shouldn't be the closer any longer.
I think I'm gonna sell that. I don't know who else is gonna, fill that role.
Fernando Cruz is the name that everybody's talking about and clamoring for.
And he kind of did the same thing
Correct.
that Diaz
Correct.
did last
He
night.
walked 3 guys his last time out.
I mean, he was running his pitch count close to 50.
Correct. Listen, Fernando Cruz is somebody that I think when he's on, I think he's the best pitcher in our bullpen. When he's off, he becomes that loosey-goosey.
Yes.
He's walking 3 guys, nowhere near the zone, and you're praying that somebody makes contact with the baseball and hopefully one of our players catches it. That's what I would agree. I'm going to sell this as well. I think Alexis Diaz will be fine. I think he's going to come out of this eventually. I think Alexis Diaz is the closer of the Cincinnati Reds.
I'm selling. Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about? Yeah, he's got a terrible ERA. Yeah, he's got a bad WHIP, but it's 14 innings. That's what that's the nature. That's the nature of the. It's three outings. It's 3 outings. He's pitched in 16 games. 3 of them have been bad.
No, but he's been bad since last year, though.
He's
been bad since July of last year.
I will say that maybe you can have a shorter leash on him because there is times where he just clearly doesn't have it. Last night being one of them against the Nationals in his debut is one of them. Those are 2 of his 3 blown saves. I would say maybe you have a shorter leash with him, but yeah, he's still. Let me put it this way: if you need a strikeout out of the pen, you can pull any guy. Every guy's fresh. You're picking Alexis Diaz.
I don't know if that's true.
Casey,
I don't know if that's
buy
true.
or sell.
I'm selling that.
Do we have the button?
Yeah.
Sell, sir. All right. I mean, hell, we've gone through 3 guys.
Well, yeah. I mean, what I like to do now is wait for the whole room to say what they do, and then it'll be whatever the room feels.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Buy or
All
sell.
right. Okay.
So, I mean, I'm looking at his game log here, and there's 2 games where he won, where he gave up a run, and there's only 3 games where he's given up runs, and one of them was a grand slam. That's tough. I don't know. I think he'll get back to where we think he should be, somewhere around that 3 ERA range, maybe even lower than that. It's just 14 innings, man. I mean, it's too early to tell.
Okay.
I think
Sure.
Hit the button, even for you, because I like it.
Again, this has been an ongoing issue.
I'm going sell.
You're
Hit
selling.
it again. Sell.
This has been an ongoing issue since July of last year. So this is not just
you're
14
buying?
innings. I'm selling, but I'm being cautious about it.
Okay,
Buy
all
or
right.
sell. This is a must-win series against Arizona. The Reds need to win the next 2 here.
Who?
Well, the way last night went, I think you have to sell it because it's not
Not likely.
just because of how unrealistic it is. I mean, when you've won 3 of your last 17 games, it's really hard to go out and buy that they're going to go win 2 in a row and steal a road series against, like Reed said, a team that you're kind of competing with for an NL wildcard spot if the Reds are a playoff team. So I'm selling that.
Sell. Well, love it.
Hit the sell button.
Sell.
It is May 14th, the day after Elliot Rearing's birthday. Must-win series? What are we talking about? Sell. There's a 162-game season. Move on.
Hit it again, Casey. Sell.
So, I mean, for me, I think to me, there's a certain point where you need to stop the skid. You need to correct it. Otherwise, it's going to get out of hand. You're going to get too far behind. We're 7 games back behind 500. Is that right?
Below 500.
Below
yes.
500. We're not at that point yet. I think if you start getting into double-digit losses, that's where we're starting to like really hit the panic button. We got to really start winning some games. They won 12. They had a 12-game win streak last year. I don't know if you remember that. They're capable of winning games. They're capable of ripping off games, Elliot. So I think it's not a must-win yet.
But you're selling.
But I am selling it. It's not a must.
It's not a must. It's not a must-win series. It's a must-win. You have to win a game. You can't get swept. If you get
Was the
That's
question
fair.
you
No.
win one game or
No.
they have
You
to
keep
win the
moving
next
the goalpost on these
I'm not moving the
questions.
goal. I'm not moving the goalpost. I'm not moving the goalpost. I'm saying I'm selling my own question. I asked you guys if it was a must-win series. Everybody said sell. Sell. I'm saying if you get swept here, yeah, I think the season's in great peril.
All right.
Sell. Okay. What's next?
We have here. This is Tom's guy, Will Benson. He's going to lose his spot. Jake Fraley's going to take over, and we're going to start seeing less and less of Will Benson here. Will Benson, I got some stats for you the last 10 games, Tom. He has 14 strikeouts. He has 3 hits and 25 at-bats. This is Will Benson. Has he started to lose the trust, the faith that he had with this fan base?
I am wrong far more than I am right. So let me preface everything by saying that. But if you recall, even when everybody around here was jumping up and down and waving pom-poms about Benson, and I root for the kid. He seems like a great kid, an easy kid to root for. And I am rooting for him, genuinely rooting for him. Having said that, the Cleveland Guardians they are a team that doesn't spend money. They are going to be patient, especially with a number 1 pick. With all of the tools that Benson has.
Yeah.
He walks in a room and you're like, gosh, I wish I looked like that dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The body, the speed, the whole package. And he's cool. And
Yeah.
he's smart. And he's well spoken. He's got the whole thing. But we're not talking about any of those things. The Guardians don't make mistakes on number 1 picks. Or at least they're not going to just shove one out of town after 4 or 5 years and say, you know what, this kid ain't ever going to make it.
Yeah.
They don't make a habit of doing that. And he has given the Reds some very good moments. But man, oh man, oh man. Strikeout, what would you say? He's leads
Leads the league in strikeouts with Kyle Schwarber.
He's striking out at a near 50% clip. He's
60 strikeouts in, let me pull this up.
It's about
148 plate appearances.
Now, see, if you had somebody
Close.
that you could replace him with regularly, then you would.
He's too important defensively right now.
That's exactly right. And then Friedel's out.
Correct. He's not going to lose his spot because someone needs to be able to catch a fly ball out there.
Correct.
In center field
Half of them can't.
because we know Spencer Steer might as well go out there without a glove.
Well, he should be DHing.
Correct. It's 100%. And again, he's forced to be in a role that he
That's right.
shouldn't be in.
That's right.
I'm not going to give up on Will Benson yet. I'm going to sell this, but we're close. We're close on a lot of these guys. If it were up to me and the Reds weren't dealing with every injury and every bad luck instance in the world, yeah, I'd probably send him down and I'd have him work on something because it's uncompetitive at the plate. 3 hits and 25 at
Luke,
bats.
what are you doing? Buying or selling Will Benson?
I'm buying it, guys.
Oh no!
Last year, I just think that the offseason was kind of a fun time for Reds fans when you had all these pieces and Votto wasn't going to get re-signed, and it was like we kind of have too many bats with, CES coming up, and it was Stevenson couldn't catch too because they needed Casale, and it was just kind of a good problem to have from an offensive perspective when you're saying we shouldn't re-sign Joey Votto because we have young bats with high ceilings. And Will Benson was, at the top of the list of Reds that we wanted to become an everyday starter, or at least a lot of people wanted to become. And Will Benson, I hate to be this way, but I think he's a glorified pinch hitter. I think he's a very streaky guy who can, come in, play the outfield for the later innings. I think he's a great bench piece on a good team. So, you put him on a team like the Yankees or a team atop their division that can win big games. I think he's going to play huge moments for you, get huge at-bats for you. However, as an everyday player, as of right now, I'm buying that Will Benson should not have a starting spot.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you that he'll lose his spot, but I don't think he's a pinch hitter. I think he's just a platoon guy. Like he can only hit lefties. He's just not done much of hitting as of late.
Righties.
So this point,
Righties.
righties. I'm sorry. But I mean this year he's been pretty pathetic in that.
Here's what I'll say before we'll move on about Will Benson. Last year, I ranted and raved about Will Benson every time that I watched the Reds play. He has great at-bats, and that is perhaps the greatest attribute you can have as a hitter. You can hit the ball a mile, you can have great bat speed, you can do all these things, but if you're not a selective hitter, if you don't wait for your pitch, you're not going to be very good.
Yep.
You look at all the best hitters, they all have a high on-base percentage despite wherever their batting average was.
Sure.
Juan Soto's 24 years old right now. I will almost guarantee that guy will be in the Hall of Fame someday. Came up young, has great plate discipline. That's what Will Benson had last year, and that kind of stuff doesn't go away. The one thing that we have seen from Will Benson, saw it last year. They started him throughout April. Slow, terrible hitter. We're like, is this guy even a Major League Baseball player? And then once the summer months hit, it got warmer. He was fantastic. I think that maybe that's what we're seeing with Will Benson right now. I refuse to give up on a guy that got on base had a 370 on base percentage,
Sure.
and that was when he went 1 for 40 to start the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
1 for 40 to start the year. The guy has great at bats. He will get back. Just give him time. Just it's
Give him
okay.
some time. And we have one more here. Well, we have two more. The second one's a silly one. But this one, right now, the Reds are the worst team in the NL Central. Buy or sell?
Buy. As of today.
As of right now.
Today. I'm not saying
As
they
of right
are
now.
the worst team because I don't believe that. But as we sit here today, I believe, yes, they are. Buy. Hit it. Buy. Thank you.
Bye.
I'm going to have to buy it as well.
Listen, it's not just
Mr. Kirby.
It's not just right now. It's not, guys. This is I watched the Cubs play the Pirates this year. They have a better roster than the Reds. They have better pitch. They have better young pitchers. Paul Skeens, Jared Jones, Mitch Keller.
Reds pitchers are pretty damn good.
They're not as highly touted as Paul
Okay,
Skeens.
well, maybe not, but they got the highest ERA of the bunch is 3.8. They're pretty good.
Certainly. And we talk about how the Reds can't be this bad. The Pirates lineup can't be as bad as it is. The Cardinals, they're old. They're old, but they have two bona fide Hall of Famers cornering their infield that can't continue to play as bad as they're playing. Yeah, they're the worst team in the NL Central. Certainly, because they're
It's a buy.
It's a buy.
Reds are better than the Cardinals.
So
He's
hit it.
selling.
Hit it.
Sell.
And we have last one before we end this, and have to go to break here. The Cubs suck.
Ooh.
I'm gonna buy that one. Luke, you buying that one?
Watched the entire last 5 innings of that game last night.
Yeah.
Obviously, they got shut out, so it wasn't a good game to tune into.
Yeah.
But
Imanaga!
what is that lineup? I mean, I'm not really seeing too many names in there that really make. I mean, to Reed's point about the Orioles, and I feel like the Rays had a couple lineups like this when they were successful, where it's just not really a bunch of superstars, if you will, but
I agree.
guys who play. And I think the Cubs are a team that if they can keep doing what they're doing now and make the playoffs, they could easily, like the Diamondbacks, get hot and make a run. And we're talking about this idiotic take right now. But top to bottom, nothing too special in Chicago.
We're not Tom, send it. Tom, send it.
Hit it. Bye. There we go. All right, so we got to send it to. We're not going to get Reed's response to this.
Nah, we didn't need it.
No, we got to give.
All right, Reed, go ahead.
Reed a chance. This is equal time. here
Reed,
now.
you have 1 minute.
I'll give
you
you
guys
one.
decided to. All right, go ahead.
He's 19 years old, so I'm gonna be nice to him.
Imanaga.
But he said, "What is this line? Who has a more solid lineup in the National League Central than the Chicago Cubs?"
Come on.
Tom, our center fielder is Cody Bellinger, former MVP Rookie of the Year, who's
That's right.
fantastic.
He scares you.
Ian Happ, who is
Doesn't
terrible,
scare you.
who's terrible this year. Well, he should because he's one of the best hitters ever against the Reds.
Well, I know, but he doesn't scare me at all.
Okay, Dansby Swanson, former #1 overall pick, and
Infielder.
Average offensive player.
Michael Bush, who was a top 20 prospect, who the Dodgers just gave away. Yeah, he's got an OPS plus of 121. Nico Horner's batting 269, 361. He's going to steal 60
Luke
bases.
said this, that if these guys continue to do what they're doing now, then yeah, okay. But when you, going back to your point earlier
Seiya Suzuki is one of the best hitters in the league.
When you just look at their lineup, the only guy that scares you in that lineup is Bellinger. It's like the Reds right now. You look at the Reds
You should be
right
scared
now.
of Seiya Suzuki.
Okay, all right, okay.
You should be scared of Christopher Morel at 30 home runs and 40 in 100
Reed hates
games
Christopher
last year.
Morel, so don't listen to that.
Whatever. Watch more baseball.
ESPN date. That's right. We're back in a moment.
Before we come back, Casey, we're going to run a couple ads. We're just do your quick little ad breaks. And then also, Tom, the remaining 2 segments are going to be 10 minutes each. We went a little bit long there. Just a heads up. I'm just giving you a heads up. Just 10 minutes each in the last 2 segments. Casey, want to tell me about this beautiful bottle?
Yeah, it's from Hamilton, Ohio, Pawnee Water.
Yeah.
Uses natural limestone filtration, unlike the artificial processing the other brands use. The result, a healthy alkaline water, and some say the best tasting water in the world. Visit Pawnee Water at PAHHNI water.com. So you can buy this great tasting water. And then we have Encore Technologies. They provide IT solutions for a data-centered world with a suite of services from mobile computing, desktop to data center, supporting both centralized and work-from-home computing modules to improve efficiency. And
Luke?
Productivity.
You're gonna get it one of these days. He's going to get it one of these
Luke, you
days.
got to get on it, man.
He's going to get it one of these days.
I was closer yesterday than I was today.
He wasn't locked in. Go ahead.
you know, the path to innovation begins here. Visit encore.tech.
Where?
Right here.
Okay. All right. We mentioned Molly's super chat. Thank you very much, Molly, for watching our show, and we love you very, very much.
Yes. We love it.
But now, right now, we're going to go.
Well, the other thing, too,
Yeah.
can we get some likes? We only have like 25 likes.
That's because Trace isn't here.
So let's get the like button. Let's hit the like button. Let's look at maybe some of our memberships. We're going to do box lunch right after this, right?
That's right.
We're going to start doing a lot more membership stuff here now that we're getting finished up with baseball here with Miami.
One more weekend.
One more weekend. And I think that's it. That's all that we've got.
Somebody
on our
wants
plate.
to know whatever that thing is. Is there a Chatterbox Discord?
There is. There is a Chatterbox Discord.
You guys are all in on that thing, right?
Yeah,
That's
Casey is especially. Casey's a big Discord guy, Tom. It's like a group chat. It's like a big old group chat.
Yeah, it's just the chat outside the show. It's great.
So you're normally dialed in on that.
That's right.
All right. Bengals schedule comes out tomorrow. We learned that the second game of the year, they are going to be playing at Kansas City. So that, I mean, logic would tell you the season opener would be at home, right? I mean, wouldn't that be
Correct.
logical?
And the Reds are out of town week 1 too, so
Okay.
it seems likely that they'll be at home.
Okay, so that's very, very, very good news, clearly. Okay, so we threw out the question. We know the Kansas City game at Kansas City is going to be a late afternoon kick on CBS. That'll be a 4:25 game, second week of the season. When you look at the Bengals' opponents for this year, if you could pick one game for them to be on prime time, one at home, one on the road, who would it be? Casey, you're Mr. Bengal. Can we start with you?
The teams that I would want to see at home and on the road.
Well, no, just you have two primetime games.
Yeah.
You get to pick which ones you would want them to be. One a home opponent, the other a road opponent. What would you want to see? Either Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night.
Ooh, okay. For the teams that are home, I think I'd like to see us play against the Eagles at home.
Okay.
On
Prime time.
prime time.
Okay.
I don't know. Probably a Monday or a Sunday night.
Okay.
Away, it's probably the Chargers just because of the Justin Herbert, same draft class. And I think the Chargers are going to be much better next year. I don't know what primetime slots I want those in, but I do think those are the two best games on their opponent's schedule. Just looking at it from here, like none of the other games really interest me to be prime time. There might be a few sneaky games like the Raiders I think could be maybe decent this year. A little slept on, but other than that, I don't think that there's another, maybe Cowboys, but those are my two.
Elliot?
I was with Casey on the Eagles. I would like to have the Eagles Sunday Night Football at home. I think that would be a fun game. Jalen Hurts versus Joe Burrow. On the road, I want an easy game. I want a team that I can beat easily on a Thursday night. And who's the Thursday night king outside of Jacksonville? It's the Tennessee Titans. I want the Titans on the road on a Thursday night.
But that has some intrigue because of Brian Callahan.
Correct.
Yes.
That's what I would want.
Okay.
I don't want to give them the Sunday 1 o'clock game in Tennessee for the 9th straight year.
Okay. Reed?
Yeah, I'm actually with Casey. I think that there's a lot of storylines going to Los Angeles Chargers. I think that they're going to be much better. Jim Harbaugh is obviously there, but then obviously there used to be a rivalry. I think Burrow has kind of outpaced Herbert in recent years, but there used to be that who's going to be better, Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow. I'd like to see that come to fruition. I'd like to see us go to SoFi Stadium and play on a Thursday, Monday, Sunday Night Football. So that's my away game. I thought the Titans was a little intriguing. Home, I kind of want to see us play the Lions. I kind of want to see us play the.
We don't
I'm
play
looking
that.
at 2025 season.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Reader.
No,
That'll be next year.
That would be awesome.
That'd be a
though.
good
That
one
would be
next year.
great.
The fighting Chris Spielmans.
When I look at home, the Eagles. The Eagles are going to have so much firepower offensively between the new running back that they got with Saquon. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is still there. They got all these wide receivers. They're kind of setting the mold of can the Bengals sign 2 wide receivers. We know that's not what they're going to do. But, the Eagles are going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. So, might as well show them at home and show out at Paycor Stadium.
All right. Luke?
Home, I'd like the Cowboys. I know we've been to Dallas a couple times recent years.
No, that game is on the road.
No, I'm saying I know the Bengals have been to Dallas. Yeah,
No,
this year.
This year.
But I think that division, Philly, would be fun. If you're going to go on the road, I think the Herbert thing's interesting, too, because there was a rivalry at one point. It would be a return to SoFi. I mean, obviously the Super Bowl was there.
Right.
And I think, in agreement with Elliot, I don't want to go play someone impossible on the road.
No.
I'd rather have a road primetime game be one where it's a good game, there's good storylines, and it's not, terrible, but a game that we can win. Because I think you get a win on primetime, it's even more momentum than a typical Sunday win.
Okay. All right. Mine's got a little caveat to it here. I want to see the Bengals play the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Whoa.
That's a good one.
That's what I want to see. The Cowboys are on every year. That's a road game. The Bengals have not been, I think it's 2010 or 2011, something like that, since they played on Thanksgiving. I want to see that game as a game that is on, and let's be honest, all day Thanksgiving is a primetime game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay? But, so for therefore, I'm going to separate it because the Cowboys will normally play that afternoon game.
Right.
In Dallas or in Arlington. So I would like to see the Bengals play the Ravens at home prime time.
That's what I was
because the
about to
Ravens
say.
never go on the road in prime time in the division.
Yep.
They never do.
Yep.
And the records of teams in the AFC North in prime time road games, prime time, is brutal. So I'd like to play the Ravens here, prime time. On the road, I want to see Cleveland. I like the feel of Cleveland on the road.
Yeah.
I like that.
You can really few them through the TV.
Like Halloween, we had it a few years ago. Remember that?
That's a
That was
disaster.
a nightmare.
I know, but I'm saying it's cool. Browns and the Bengals on Halloween, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think both teams, they kind of fit that theme of Halloween vibe, I guess.
Yeah, well, they got the orange. They got the orange.
I think the thing that's underrated is the Ravens game. I understand the point of wanting to be at home when we play them at prime time, but I kind of want to go back there prime time in Baltimore, a redemption sort of game for Joe Burrow after he got hurt. I think that would have a great storyline to it too.
Yeah, we're gonna play an AFC North team at some point.
Yep.
On prime time.
yeah.
As for what Tom said about playing the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, I'm thinking about. Listen, we played the Chiefs on New Year's Eve last year. We played the Browns on Halloween 2 years ago. We played the Steelers on Christmas Eve or right around
Yeah.
this past year.
Why not?
Let's stay away from the holidays. Let's do our best to just avoid the holidays at all costs because it hasn't
we
gone
don't
well
do well.
recently.
Oh, man.
I like being happy on those days. So let's just leave it be. No Bengals games on national holidays.
It's not a leak, I don't think, but Peter Schrager predicted the Bengals will play the Browns on Christmas Day this year. That is what again could be nothing, but that is what he projected on his mock schedule.
Now, conversely, you talked about sort of the orange and Halloween and everything, right? Browns, Bengals.
Yeah.
There is nothing Christmassy about Browns, Bengals.
Nothing.
No.
Yeah, the elves stealing your presents and everything like that.
Oh, the elves.
I forgot about the elves.
The
Well,
elves.
maybe onto something there.
Yeah.
Are we at 10 minutes?
Not yet, but here's the thing. I want to ask you guys this. Roughly, you think we'll have how many primetime games, Tom?
The
4?
max you can have is 6.
We're not
I'm
getting
going to
6.
bet coming off the year they had last year. There are a couple of teams I think that have moved up the totem pole ahead of them, and I think the case in point is the Ravens in the season opener. So I'm going to say the Bengals are on 3 times.
That's my number. I think 3 is a good number. I don't think we're getting more than 3. I think you're getting one Sunday, one Monday, one Thursday.
Yeah.
Listen, guys.
Well, you're getting a Thursday. Everybody
Correct.
gets a Thursday, right?
If Joe Burrow's healthy, we'll get more than 3.
Yeah.
100%. He's one of the most marketable stars in the NFL right now. So they will put him on primetime football, especially with how competitive the AFC North is. Well, I think we'll have 2 AFC North games in primetime, and then I think that we'll play one of these other teams. I think we're going to get at least 4.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get at least 4.
I'm with you on that, Reed. I think 4 is a good number for them. We had 5 last year, and then we had a chance to get flexed into 1, right?
Yeah.
With the Minnesota, so we almost had 6 last year. 4 seems like the right number. I think they maybe lose 1. And they might even have an opportunity to get an extra 1 with another flexible spot because we've had that a couple years now in a row, I think.
It seems like the NFL is kind of based on like the Chiefs giving them the Ravens and the Bengals the first 2 weeks. It looks like they're gonna push more divisional games to the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that there's a possibility that if the AFC North is very congested at the top like it was this past year, I think there's a high likelihood that a couple games will get flexed into prime time late in the year for the Bengals.
Who's the biggest non-divisional opponent that is most likely to play the Bengals in prime time?
Non-division.
We would have said Chiefs, but
We would have said Chiefs.
to be fair, we've never played the Chiefs on prime time except for the AFC.
It's usually been 425ers.
Right, even the first time we played them, I think was the early game in the AFC Championship. Yeah, we've always played them at 4. Non-divisional,
It's Dallas, right?
Dallas.
it's got to be Dallas and Philly. Yeah.
I think Titans is mine. I think the NFL is gonna get Callahan versus the Bengals.
That's got Thursday night.
on a
football.
Thursday
That's
night,
a Thursday.
yeah.
That's a Thursday night.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's my biggest lock. But now, Tom,
You throw it to break.
you've been listening to ESPN Dayton 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back on Off the Bench.
All right, we got. We were figuring an hour and a half today on the show, and I'm so glad that Trace was able to hopefully get some rest last night after being up very, very late. Him and Nick do an incredible job on that show, Chatterbox Red. You really ought to check it out if you haven't seen it. I mean, Luke and I were talking about this with his mom, my wife, last night. That's one of the great content sources we have on Chatterbox. Is that show?
Yeah.
That's a big-time show. Big time. All right. What else is on anybody's mind here today? We kind of covered the Reds, talked a little bit about the Bengals. The schedule's tomorrow night. We can get into that a little bit more tomorrow, and I'll be back again tomorrow too. Go ahead, Reed.
Well, I was going to say, Tom, I would just like to hear your opinion on it. It came out that the Bengals are going to play the Chiefs early on in the year,
Yeah.
week 2. I think we all kind of figured that that'd be a December game, as it's been the past 3 times that we played them in the regular season. Were you surprised that they're putting that at the beginning of the year?
I am. Week 2, yeah, I am. I mean, if you got into October, which is still considered early, say, early to mid-October,
Yeah.
that's still early in the season. I could have seen that on a fall night, going to Arrowhead, prime time, one of those kind of games you're talking about. I tell you, if I'm the Chiefs, I mean, in that division that they play in, these might be the 2 toughest games they play all year long right out of the gate. And you get them over with.
Right, yeah. If they play those first two, if they win those first two games,
Or even split.
well, yeah. But if they win the first two games, I mean, they're looking very likely to be the 1 seed in the AFC. I mean, I think they also play the Bills this year. Did they play the Bills again?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, regardless, you can put yourself ahead of the horse on getting the number 1 seed in the AFC. Can I tell you why I hate this? Everyone on Bengals Twitter has said, man, we're playing the Chiefs week 2. We're playing them so early. We never start early. We never start well. Whatever. I don't care about how the Bengals start. I really don't care about what's happened the past few years. The reason I hate that we're playing the Chiefs week 2 is because think about how you look at an NFL season. You forget those September games.
Yes, you do.
Every single year. The NFL season really doesn't start till like Thanksgiving. Yeah, you pile up wins, you lose wins. Every year we think the Miami Dolphins are world beaters in September, and then we find out they're not very good. So I hate that we're going to play one of our perceived bigger rivals, our biggest rival out of the division, certainly, in week 2 to where we're going to be 10 weeks down the line and we're going to completely forget about it.
Here's the thing, though.
They do play the Bills.
They do play the Bills.
On the road.
Yep, they play.
year.
They play the 49ers and the Bills on the road.
And the
No,
Steelers.
that was last year, guys. I'm looking at their schedule right now. They don't.
I'm
they
looking
don't
at
play the-
2024.
I'm looking at 2024. You're looking at.
I'm looking at 2024. They play. They don't play the Bills. I'm on their official website.
This is written February the 23rd, 2024.
We got to find the answer to this.
Yeah, we got to
Who's
find
gonna
the
be
right answer to this.
Because I'm pretty sure Tom and I are right. I think they play the Bills and the 49ers.
I mean, that's the Chiefs'
3
website
hours
right
ago,
there.
this was written by Sports Illustrated. So let's find this out. Okay, 3 hours ago.
Correct. We're talking about the Chiefs playing the Bills. That's what we were talking about.
They are playing the Buffalo Bills this season.
I thought we were talking about Bengals here, but my bad.
Okay.
I'm
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. My point was to answer Reed's question. I do not like playing the Chiefs this early, especially because, and I say this with love and respect, the Bengals have not started out seasons well. Is that fair? Am I allowed to say that?
Last 2 years, certainly. I think we think this is like I guess it's happened
It's
last 2
3 or
years. But
4.
when we went to,
It's 3 or
Well,
4,
the
right?
team before that, they stunk.
well, yeah, I would say, but when in their current
That's not
era
true.
of being
They-
contenders,
Andy
like
Dalton was around. Yeah, you're
when
right.
when they're
You're right.
the past 3 years when they've been a serious team, I think we call them a serious team.
Yeah.
They've started slow 2 out of the 3 years, but the first year they were 3-1.
Correct. I just think as of right now, I do not want to see any tough opponent coming into a season where Joe Burrow, love him. He needs to be healthy. If Joe Burrow's healthy week 1, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to roll. If Joe Burrow, again, starting out slow due to whatever injury he may have, respectfully, I do not like that. I do not like facing the Chiefs that early in the season with the team not ready to roll.
You want a spin zone?
Yeah.
If we get them week 2, there's less games, less opportunity for Joe to get hurt.
Yeah.
It's not like we're playing 10 games because, yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing I can say. I'm not worried about starting slow. This team always finishes out. I just hate that it's not going to mean anything when we get to Thanksgiving. We're going to look at that. Oh, that was all the way back then. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like the Chiefs game the last 3 seasons for the Bengals have been huge momentum
Correct,
builders.
correct.
It's been like they've dealt with injuries. They always start slow, but then come the Chiefs game, it was like this is where we see where we are. And for Bengal fans, it's been easily the most rewarding regular season game every year. When they knock off the Chiefs, it's like, okay, like we are this Super Bowl caliber team. We can compete in the AFC, and now we can make a push for the 1 seed. And obviously that never worked out, but still, to do it week 2, it's just going to be weird because it was that feel late in the year to have the Chiefs and be like, all right, that's when we see if we're legit or not, because there was divisional struggles last year. It's like this gets us out of the division. It's an amazing offense, a well-coached team. When you go to Arrowhead, if you can beat them, you can beat anybody. And to have it week 2, it's going to be weird.
Here's the thing, too. The Chiefs. Oh, let me just read this real quick. The Bengals are 6-5 in September games over the last 3 years. The Chiefs are 5-4 in September games over the last 3 years. It's not like the Chiefs don't start slow either. They also struggle in September. So this could be a good time to face them when they're also trying to figure themselves
But
out.
in fairness, one thing to remember about that is they're 1 game over 500, but you have to look at who the Chiefs, because they've played in the Super Bowl 3 of the last 5. That means they're and in the AFC Championship game, the other ones,
Yeah.
right? They are getting right out of the gate great opponents.
I think in 2021 they played the Texans, a Deshaun Watson-led Texans.
Right.
I think they won that pretty handily. Last year, everyone thought that was an easy game for them. They played the Lions. Turned out not so easy of a game. They lost that one. But, yeah, you're right.
But, I mean, like this year, their first 2 games are the Ravens and the Bengals.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, tough sledding.
Well,
Very tough
That's
slide.
tough, but if I'm a Chiefs fan, I saw all over Twitter, Bengals fans were like, the Chiefs might start 0-2. Like, that's huge. You have to look at it from opening night is all you prepare for probably a month out. So that's a huge game. So you have all that prep. Obviously, it's just weird first game in the NFL season.
Yeah,
but then they get the extended
they get an
rest
extended bye.
from Thursday night to the Bengals game. So if I'm a Chiefs fan, it's like it kind of blew up in your face that you're going to have to play 2 of the best teams in the AFC the first 2 weeks. But at the same time, if you go 1-1, like that's a win. Because then, I mean, you've escaped that. Plus, they could very well go 2-0. I mean, it's the Chiefs. They're already 3-point favorites against the Ravens, and they're easily going to be favored at home against the Bengals on extended rest. So.
100%.
All right. What else? NBA playoffs. You're watching, right, Luke? You're saying tonight's a huge night.
I think this is one of the biggest nights for the NBA as just, I mean, everybody down the East Coast is New York Nation right now. I mean, the Knicks have really rallied the Eastern Conference getting kind of juice involved because the Celtics have been so good that, yeah, Boston has a huge following, but, like, no one really cares about the East right now. But the emergence of the Knicks and how good this series has gotten with, you know, both teams defending their home courts, it's 2-2 right now. I think the NBA playoffs has been unbelievable. And if you're someone that doesn't watch the NBA, tune in to at least the fourth quarter of that Pacers-Knicks game because if it's a tight game, those teams are electric to watch.
Every Knicks game, and I've only really watched the Knicks games this season. Every single Knicks game has been legit dynamite, down to the wire, buzzer beaters, game winners, and it's been incredible. And that's with the Jamal Murray 2-game winners against the Lakers last series. The interesting fact about that Nuggets-Timberwolves series, no team has won at home yet. Split series 2-2. Nobody's won a game at home.
Isn't it interesting to see the Knicks be like a New York team, be the underdog? And I know they're playing the Pacers, but like they're in the realm of the East. Like for the first time ever, you got the Yankees and you got the Giants. Like they're the underdog here, right? No one's taking them serious as contenders, and what they're doing is incredible. Shout out to Villanova, by the way.
Absolutely,
who looks amazing.
And the cool part about it is just how gritty that team is. It's kind of like New York's baby that they've really embraced because you got guys like, I mean, obviously Brunson's battling injury right now, but this is a guard who, when he was a Maverick, I know you probably didn't even hear of him outside of the Villanova days.
That's right.
And he gets kind of acquired. They go
second-round pick.
They go get Josh Hart. Josh Hart is like old school NBA. He's playing every single minute of every single game, and he's getting 20 rebounds as like a forward guard.
Diving for basketballs
that's
everywhere.
What I mean. Like that's why I think this series has been so cool, where there's not like huge name stars, like there really are in the West. We've seen the past couple of years of the LeBrons and whatnot, but it's more like the new wave of the Tyrese Halliburton, the Anthony Edwards in the West right now, and it's been fun. I'm buying the NBA right now.
Who are your, as we wind down this show, and this will be my last question of the day. Who are your picks tonight? Not spread, just winners. Winners.
I think
Money lines.
I think that the Pacers have really taken control after. I think their 2 wins at home were so big. If they dropped one of those games at home, the series was over going back to New York tonight. The Knicks are so beat up, and that's what a lot of talk shows are going to talk about if the Pacers do win Game 3 in New York, like how unfortunate it's been for New York to lose 4 guys who were actively in their rotation, because they could compete in the Eastern Conference Finals if they were to see the Celtics. I don't know how much the Pacers could compete. They are young and can score, but I'm going to go Pacers upset the Knicks on the road, and I'm going to say that the trends stay the same in that other series, and the T-Wolves go up 3-2.
I like that one too.
I think they're both like 3-point spreads tonight.
Yep.
Elliot,
Who you picking?
Well,
come on.
Give me Knicks and Nuggets. Guess what the get-in price is for Madison Square Garden tonight?
Oh my goodness.
Get-in price. Cheapest
Seven
ticket.
hundo.
180. 700. Come
What
on.
are you talking about?
700.
Never know in New York.
They'd make $2 trillion.
$320.
So I'm not that bad. I was only double and a half.
Double it. 300's wild, man. That's wild.
New York, New York.
Last question. Reed brought it up. I've been seeing it on Twitter. Luke, has Jalen Brunson done enough? Has Jalen Brunson done more for the Knicks than Carmelo Anthony did?
Certainly.
Oh, it's tough. Jalen Brunson's king of New York right now, and that's a good guy to be. And with how good the Yankees are playing,
Yep.
being the king of New York right now is extra special. So
That's right.
I think what he's done has done more for the excitement of the fan base. Because Melo would hit game winner after game winner and, unreal play, but they're still winning like 19 games a year those seasons. This
Yep.
is legit Knick basketball. So I think it's cool that they're back, especially in kind of like a legacy series like the one with like the throwback history with the Pacers.
Yeah,
But
Reggie Miller and
Brunson
your
is
guy, Spike
he's the
Lee.
guy.
That's my guy.
Melo advanced in the postseason one time in 8 years. Jalen Brunson's 2 for 2. He's done
That's
it.
true.
He's advanced twice.
I am going, Casey, I'm going Pacers, and I'm going Nuggets. Big Nuggets. Whatever the spread is in the Nuggets game, if I were a gambling man, I have every other sin known to man. But I don't have gambling. But if I did, and it's never too late, I'd load up on
4.5 points.
I'd load up. That's at home.
Haven't won at home.
Load up.
4.5 point underdogs always win outright. Trust me.
Win outright.
It's just like keep the points
Yeah.
in
I'm
Minnesota.
surprised
Like you
you
can
don't
have
like
the
the
points.
Mavs.
Just take the money line.
I
The
don't
Mavs,
like
the Mavs are
I'm not
tenacious.
talking about the Mavs. We're
Or I
talking
mean,
about.
the Timberwolves, the T-Wolves. The T-Wolves
Yeah.
play great D. I thought
They're
that'd be right up.
gritty.
I thought that'd be right up. your
I
alley.
don't care. I don't care about either team. I'm just saying Denver ain't losing tonight. That's not happening.
Fair enough.
All right.
I got the Timberwolves. I like Rudy Gobert. I like Anthony Edwards. I like Cat. I really like the T-Wolves. I think that's the team that's going to make it to the finals. And if it's not them, it's obviously going to be the Nuggets. But the other team, Knicks, Pacers, I think Halliburton is on the injury list, right? So I don't know if he's been declared that he's going to play the game. And if that's the case, I'll give my chances with the Knicks.
I'm going to bet on the Knicks. I'm going to bet on the Nuggets. That means Timberwolves are going to win, and that means the Pacers are going to win. That's our show, Tom. Let's wrap it.
All right, let's wrap it up. We thank everybody for being here. Always great being with all of you guys. We're back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Now, you said we'll have
a boxed lunch in a couple minutes here.
box lunch coming up here in a couple of minutes. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you mañana.